You guys asked for it, here I am delivering it. It is the next edition of the Versus series, and of course, in good spirit, we're keeping up with Marksman rifles or semi-automatic weapons, and we're going to be using the Modern Warfare FAL, and we're going to be comparing that against the the Vanguard M1 Garand, and I'm going to be using the Patriot build, which I've put a card to just up there. But essentially, all the numbers are from this particular build of M1 Garand, and obviously the FAL is in the long range configuration that I often run it in. Although do note, in both these cases, you can run the weapons in short range builds, but I like to keep them, I like to keep them long and keep them at a medium distance and just rock up people up close with me EUG. But yeah, let's break it down. We're going to go straight in for the normal damage. The normal damage on the FAL is going to come in at 49, which is respectable, but just under that magical 50-point mark. The next up is the M1 Garand, and that's going to be doing 60, which of course is over that 50-point mark. That basically means it's going to be an additional shot to kill on the FAL. Next up is the headshot damage. The headshot damage on an FAL is 70, which is respectable. It is over that 50 threshold, but not quite over that 75 threshold, which is a bit of a shame. Then the M1 Garand is going to come in at 90 damage for a headshot. This is good. This makes headshots on the M1 worth going for. And going for the headshots on this thing, if you land them, you're going to be dropping people super quick. That being said, you're going to be dropping people super quick with a headshot with the FAL as well, just not to the same extent as the M1 Garand Patriot build. What we're going to be talking about now is the rate of fire. The rate of fire on the FAL is 470 rounds per minute. This is actually really fast. You will struggle to actually fire the gun this quickly. If you can, wow. Just outright wow. So yeah, what I like to do with this particular weapon is if you're using a mouse, you might not be able to do this on a controller, but I'm sure there's ways around it. On the mouse, I've got the scroll wheel. I've got that set to whenever I flick it up, it will just fire. So I can flick that up, and then it's just going to be continuously firing bullets at people, which is really cool and actually quite scary. Next was the M1 Garand. That's going to come in at a respectable 300. You should be able to fire this quickly, to be honest. Now, if you are firing this quickly, you are going to have a little bit of recoil. It's not much, but when you're out of range, it is going to make consecutive shots just a little harder to hit. So just bear that in mind, but we'll come more into the use of the weapon in a second. The FAL. Now, we're going to talk about its range. It's 28.2 meters. However, it does maintain its shots to kill past this range up to around 70 meters. So just bear that in mind, because you're going to lose a little bit of headshot damage and a little bit of body damage, but you're not going to lose the point where you're at 30 or 50 damage respectively, 33 damage respectively, should I say. So you're still going to be doing the same shots to kill. Now, the range on the M1 Garand is 57 meters. This is quite a lot more. And again, just like the FAL, you're not going to be doing that much less damage past this range either, although this does go up to about 70. So again, with that second range drop off of ranges up. Yeah, ranges, the M1 does have a slight advantage here because it can carry that 90 headshot damage over a greater range than what the FAL can. So just bear that in mind. Next is going to be the bullet velocity. Now, the bullet velocity on the FAL is going to be 1002 meters per second, which is high. In my opinion, 1000 is the place to be. If you be 1000 or go home, essentially for a marksman rifle. With that being said, the M1 Garand is going to come in at 930 meters per second, which, if I'm being honest, I'm not amused by. I'm not amused by that at all. It just feels as if bullets, when on moving targets at range, are a lot harder to hit. The projectile that you see come out the bullet is actually slower than what the bullet actually goes, so it's hard to actually gauge it that way. Your bullet will hit your target quicker than what that little icon that comes out your gun does. So, yeah, just it's a strange one with this gun in Warzone or Rebirth. Just bear that in mind. And then we're going to talk about the time to kill. Time to kill on the FAL comes in at a reasonable, actually borderline really good, 438 milliseconds, which, yeah, is really good. When you consider that this is being compared against the M1 Garand at 800 milliseconds, it outright has a faster time to kill. However, you really need to be spamming the weapon to get that kind of damage increase. Now, there is something that we do need to talk about. The big elephant in the room here, and don't worry, I haven't forgotten it, is the assault rifle ammo on the FAL. You are limited to about 40 bullets in reserve for the M1 Garand. You're limited to 210 on the FAL. This just makes long-range fights so much easier. It makes encounters so much easier. It makes team fights so much easier. It makes sustainability so much easier. Now, this is a really, really, really big thing to consider. Though you do have that range advantage on the M1 Garand, you might not have the bullets to actually punish people at that range. Because after a couple of little, what do you want to call them, engagements, a couple of little spouts of where you've cracked him, he's cracked you, you play it up, he's cracked him, he's cracked you, and you go through that cycle. Maybe he's dropped a few plates from his teammate, or got some from his teammate, you as well. Come that stage in a battle, you're going to be near enough out of ammo. Whereas on an FAL, you're laughing. You still got ammo for days. Hashtag ammo for days. So that is something that we really do need to bear in mind for this particular weapon. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button below and consider subscribing if you're new here. What do you guys think? What do you guys like using? And what are your guys' builds? Let me know. And we will talk to you on the next one. Peace.